Good evening, Tiger fans, and welcome to a special edition of the Parasports Network. We've been away from each other for 9 or 10 months now, and thought it might be a decent idea to maybe kind of get a little basketball back in our lives. So one way to do that was to kind of relive some of the success that we had last year. Good evening. One of the good things about it is that we've got the opportunity to view these videos in high def because they were saved onto an outfit called Huddle. And we're going to bring both the head varsity coaches in to kind of give a little background, little thoughts behind each of the games as they happened. What's going to happen is we're just going to basically play the game in the background. And first up, I'm going to be joined by head Lady Tiger coach Dave Tingley. And we're just going to kind of talk over the game while it's playing in the background. Now, don't fret. When we get down to the crunch time, this particular game, which was the championship game of the Charleston Holiday Tournament, played just about one calendar year ago at this time, when the Lady Tigers took on Tia Topless Lady Wooden Shoes for the first time out of 3 in the year. So we're going to kind of watch that and have it in the background. But when we get toward crunch time, we may focus a lot more on the game. So if you want to just kind of sit back and grab some coffee or whatever you want, and we're going to be with you for a couple hours. Then following the girls' game, we're going to have head coach Chase Brinkley come in and kind of relive the boys' thrilling last-second victory against Tolono Unity. So at this time, I'm going to bring Lady Tigers head coach Dave Tingley in to join us. Coach, really appreciate you joining us on this weird thing. I mean, we're getting used to that, saying that in 2020, but thanks a lot for joining us. I'm sure you would have no problem reliving this game, one of the highlights of just an outstanding season. So we're going to go ahead and start the game, just kind of get things rolling here. And if you're watching on YouTube, feel free to send any questions that you have for Coach in the chat. We'll make sure we pass those along to him, and we'll get things rolling. So, Coach, welcome aboard.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is something unique for all of us. So we're just kind of watching the game play in the background. Of course, Charleston High School is where this all took place, Baker Gymnasium. If you could just kind of start us out, this is the barely end of the season, maybe a month in or so. Not sure what our record it was coming in, but if you could kind of take us through the procession of how we arrived at this title game here.
Yeah. We had 4 games previous to this to get into the championship game in our pool play. Actually 3 games in our pool play, and then there was an initial crossover game that was what you would call a semifinal game that was played, and then this is the championship game, of course. Pretty rough start, to be honest with you, with how the tournament started. It's played immediately after Christmas, and this particular year, last year, it started on December 27th. And, we had some practices around Christmas time leading up to that. And usually the tournament's played during the daytime. So sometimes you can play as early as, 9 a.m., maybe even 8:30 at times. And I think we had a 10:30 game on the first day against Sacred Heart. And that morning, the night before, actually, Coach Gates had messaged me and said, hey, Jenna's not feeling well. Just letting you know, I think she'll be fine. But just filling you in on the situation. And the next morning, I'm already at the gym waiting for the walkthrough, and I get a call from Coach Gates, and he says, Jenna's got a fever, and there's just no way she can play today. So, you have some seniors that are starting for you, and Jenna's been one that's 3-year starter, and you're losing your point guard, your general of your team. And so you kind of think, this might be a little bit more difficult than what we thought. So we went into all the games leading up to this championship game without Jenna. So this game right here is the first game Jenna's back from having the flu, basically. And as you'll see in the game, you can tell that she is not 100% as far as energy level. She had been dehydrated, of course, and so it was unique circumstances for sure to get in this position, because we did play Sacred Heart in that very first game. Sacred Heart is a team that I honestly this year, when the season gets rolling, Sacred Heart should be a favorite to find their way to state. They've got an awesome group of girls coming back, a D1 talent in Sophie Lois, and then a couple other girls that are on their team that will go play college basketball. So they're a pretty solid team.
Yeah,
so,
you and I discussed that on the telecast, that this team is great, and my recall's a little bit off, but was that the double overtime game?
Yeah, double overtime.
Yeah.
Some big shots in that game. Trinity hit one. We were down 3. Trinity hit probably a 23-footer late in the first overtime, and thought we had the game won. And then they had an incredible little run where I think we fouled. They made a free throw. Something happened, and it got into double overtime. Madison, or for the first overtime, Trinity's was actually in the regular portion of the game, and then Maddie hit one in the first overtime, and really helped us. There were 2 huge shots. Were really, they thought they were in position to win, and got into that second overtime and was able to. I believe we hit several free throws in that overtime, going to the line, making shots, and it was a really big game for us. And just to get to the one we're watching tonight versus T-Town, if we don't beat Sacred Heart, we're in the 3rd and 4th place game, because there are just some really good teams there. So as big as this one was, that first game of the tournament, going in without your point guard, and finding a way to win, and that goes to senior leadership, if you ask me. We've got still 3 other seniors on the court without her out there, and they're girls that it's just amazing. I'll kind of get chills thinking about how just solid of players that they were, what they had grown into, knowledge wise, and understanding of how to play with each other, knew their roles, knew what each other's skill sets were, how they could get each other involved, and what they needed them to do. And then overall, they believed in each other and trusted each other in that, in that crunch time. And, it takes, a lot to build that. That doesn't just get created overnight. And these girls, put themselves in position by playing hundreds of games together over the years to get to that point. So a pretty incredible, circumstance to even be in this championship game, and then having the opportunity here to beat T-Town in a championship game. So we felt pretty good about it.
Yeah, and we touched on a little bit earlier, this is the first of 3 meetings with the Lady Wooden Shoes. Of course, the next one would come probably less than a week later.
It was 3 days later, if I remember correct. So yeah.
Yeah, so going back to to missing Jenna, through the first 4 games, your freshmen really grew some wings there. You're talking about Trinity, but also Kendra,
and then Kate Littleton played a lot in those games as well.
Yeah, you got 2 sophomores on the court as well. So
right,
really nothing in between. You had 3 seniors on the court and 300 classmen just basically rotating in and out, and then to be able to get through the bracket that you had. Charleston does us no favors by playing 9 o'clock games every time we go over there.
Yeah.
That just seems like a theme. But, to persevere through that, of course, and then we know how the season played out. This first month of basketball, along with the North American Lighting Championship that you got, it just really built and paved the road for,
it did,
late January, February.
Absolutely. You start out, and if you win your first tournament, you feel like, okay, well, we're a good team. And then you kind of go through. We played St. Joe early. St. Joe was one of those teams in the Champaign area that was picked to be one of their top teams in the area. and we went into St. Joe and actually kind of played a sloppy game and beat them by 23 points, I believe. And I think that's where we realized, okay, we beat T-Town, Charleston. We beat Danville. We'd beat Champaign Central early on, and then your first real test though was St. Joe, and winning that game by 23 points. You kind of feel like, okay, well, there's something here, and we knew we had the horses. It's, can they all come together? And it's funny because I just said that because that was our theme for the year, was come together. We knew what we had. We just had to get all on the same page and make sure that there was only one goal in mind, and that was to win and do the absolute best we could, and not really worry about anything off the court or personal goals. It was really about a singular goal, to play our best and to try to win each game. And of course, that's what every team wants to do. But this team legitimately had the realistic chance of winning every single game that they played in, because they were just that talented of a group. And we beat St. Joe early on in the season, and then just kind of started stretching our legs out a little bit with some other teams, and you get into conference play, and we kind of struggled a little bit against Marshall. We had the first quarter, first half of that game we had with them, we just weren't clicking, and then second half just literally took off. And then you play Olney later on that week. Played them on Marshall on a Monday and Olney on a Thursday, and we literally trounced Olney at Olney. It was like a track meet, and it felt like we were playing a junior high team, and that's not saying anything bad against Olney, because they were a very good team. We were just on that night. There wasn't anything we did that wasn't just about as perfect of decision that could be made offensively and defensively. So you kind of get into conference play, and you've already beaten two of the top teams in your conference. Then you get through the rest of December, and you get into this tournament, and you go 5-0, and two of the teams we played are top teams in the state, in Sacred Heart and T-Town. And at that point you do feel like, okay, this is real. We haven't been beat yet, and we've played some really good teams. And after we played T-Town that second time, we went down to Breeze Central and played Breeze Mater Dei, which was another top team in the state, and beat them down there, I think, by double digits or something similar to that, 9 or 10 or something. So you start to, every win builds more confidence, more trust in each other. And you're right, it definitely paved the way, and we started really feeling. But it's one of those things. It's like you haven't lost, so what do you focus on? Are you focusing on not losing or winning? Because sometimes that can play tricks with your mind. Whether you're playing not to lose or whether you're just playing to win because you're on a streak, and sometimes that's a tough thing to have on your plate, is not being beat. And people just say, well, you're going to win every night. And happen to live up to that. And I thought our girls did an awesome job of playing with all that pressure on them. It seems crazy to think that I'm saying that they played with pressure on them when we were undefeated late into the season, but not a lot of teams. I know I'm talking about a basketball team, not a, football teams often can do that, with 8 or 9 games that they've played, but doing it through 34 games, the pressure really starts to mount on, because you're getting everybody's best shot every night. And
you think from this point on in the season, from this very game that we're watching tonight on, you're everybody's Super Bowl.
Everybody's Super Bowl, absolutely.
You hear that bannered around, but until you actually live it like you did, and the girls did, you don't want to demean them by any means, but it's one thing to be, quote unquote, young and dumb. They're by no means.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like, hey, we're just going out here playing a game.
Right.
We don't care what our record is. We're going to see how much we can beat these teams by.
Right.
And it really showed, because the girls, they didn't take their foot off of the throttle at all until you made them, until you pulled them out of the game. You or Missy or whoever pulled them out of the game. And then
Yep.
at that point, they kind of exhale. You go from 100 miles an hour down to 0.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
that's just the way they played.
I can remember playing Casey at Ernie Eveland in the second half of the season, and we were up maybe 25, 30 points on them in Carrington. There's a loose ball at half court, and she dives on the ball and like does it in a way that maybe a little dangerous. And we've all seen Carrington play, and she does not have any care for her body for the most part. She was willing to get on the floor at any time and dive anywhere. And I'm thinking to myself, she's diving on the floor like this is a one possession game, of a tournament, and she's up 30. We're up 30 or so. So, and you just realize that they won it. You're right. They had their foot on the pedal and just didn't let off until they came out and took they can kind of exhale and be like, okay, we did our job. And right there at the end of that quarter, I was going to mention that play. We were struggling to score first quarter there. Only had 4 points on the board. Our defense wasn't bad, holding them to 11, but Jenna did a great job right there of holding her girl off and getting to the rim with a great left-hand finish. I thought that was kind of an important part, just to kind of we scored kind of like going into the time the first quarter break there, and it kind of gave us like, okay, like we're fine. We just need to do our thing. But their defense was really good. But I will say this: at the beginning of this game, we missed, and I think we were kind of seeing, okay, we're playing T-Town, and T-Town has been one of those teams that's kind of had our number over the past few years. They've been a solid team, and we've had some injuries when we've played them, and they're the team. I will give it to them. They are a team that every year, year in, year out, is a team that everybody's wanting to beat. And
that's a credit to Coach Lori Thompson.
Absolutely,
she's been there for a long time. She's got that reputation. Her teams basically take on her mold. They're
Absolutely.
tough, hard-nosed. That's the way they play. But I will also say this, that teams are starting to realize that Paris is a team to be reckoned with as well, and that's brought on by you and Missy and Dan. Just the work ethic and the way that you guys play the game. It's like, oh, hey, we're going to go play Paris again tonight. Oh boy, there's Paris. And the success that you've had over the last 3+ years kind of precedes you a little bit, to the point where you're some of the other teams in the conference is T-Town now.
Right, exactly, and I that's a group effort for sure, because it's the type of mentality that I have. I mean, you can see it when you're at a game watching me coach. I feel like a lot of times I'm the one in defensive position and trying to cut somebody off. Like I'm playing the game from the sideline. I play with passion when I actually play the game. Not so much anymore, but when I do, I play with passion and energy, and that's the same way I coach. I just don't have any other way to do it.
Well, I have seen you leave the game sweatier than some of your players before.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And they take on your personality, and that's you can see that on the court. You mentioned Carrington. I like to just touch on your seniors that you had last year. I know 3 of them are going on to play school or college ball.
Yeah.
Whenever that happens.
Right.
All this, but it's very rare for a school, the size of Paris to get 1, let alone 3 going on the play. So, it's have you had a chance to talk to them about, what the biggest difference they see between the college game? They haven't played yet, but at least the practices and all that, and the level of play at the high school.
Yeah, and I have touched base with them a little bit. We haven't talked much about basketball other than just saying, like how's it going, like what are you getting to do and stuff. But I haven't talked much about them. But just as a general idea, when they get into college, I think I don't know if it'll be much different for them, because I feel like when the core group of girls that had played this year, I mean, they were driven, and the passion for basketball is there. And I don't think I would say T-Town is in that same mold. The passion that every one of these girls that have out there is 100%. But there are a lot of teams that you might have one or two girls that really feel the same way about basketball that you do. And sometimes that's tough, when basketball is your life, as far as that's your passion, that's what you want to do. It is tough sometimes to keep that energy and that drive when not everybody shares the same feeling about it as you do. And they kind of want to, hold you back a little bit. But I think when they get to college, they're going to see that's what's even more special is every one of those girls came there to do exactly what you're doing. And that's to help a team and to be your absolute best. And so I think the special part for them is they're going to get, pushed because, they're coming in low men on the totem pole now. And they've got other girls that want the same exact thing they do. And that's, because you get into these high school seasons and, I don't think Sarah Isif ever thought, I'm going to be challenged for a starting spot. After her freshman year, I think she pretty much knew I'm going to start every game. It didn't stop her from working hard, but at the same time, you're going to get pushed. You're going to get, everybody's on your team's, best effort. And if you want to play and you want to contribute, you got to bring your A game every day. So I see some benefits for them going on to college and having that surrounding them. Those other girls that feel the same way. At the same time, I know they're going to do well because I can tell you that they played that way regardless of whether or not, they had somebody over their shoulder ready to come in, that they just played hard. And that's what I think's, made this team special is, like you said before, they put their foot down on a pedal and didn't let up until, the dogs were called off. So I think I want to mention Jenna going to Franklin. I think that's a great spot for her. It's a good school. I think she fits in really well with their program. I had a chance to talk to their coach when they came to a couple of Jenna's games, and they were excited about Jenna coming, and who wouldn't be, right? If you're going to get somebody of Jenna's ability as far as leading a team on the court with her ability to control the ball, get people in the right spot, get plays going, and at the same time do what she's doing right now, and that's knock down free throws. I would say I told Jenna this going into her junior year. Jenna Gates wins one or two basketball, maybe 3 or 4 even per year, just based on her free throw shooting alone, because she has the ball in her hand at the end of a game and you want to come foul her, stop the clock. And there she was missing one. I just jinxed her, I guess. But, you win games at the free throw line against good teams, especially at the end. And we played with the lead a lot and had a chance to go to the line. And, I think Franklin got a dynamite player in Jenna as far as what she's going to be able to do for that team. And I think she is an engine that makes a team just go, because if you run the floor, she's going to get you the ball. And teams that, can score easy buckets, girls want to run the floor for you. And that helps a lot. And then Carrington, I think it's a great fit for her going to Lakeland. I know Coach Johnson there. I've had a couple former players that's played for him, and he's pretty hard on his players. He gets the most out of them because he expects a lot out of them, and the style of play that they play with is fast. They have girls that play multiple positions, can do multiple things, and obviously Carrington's capable of playing and guarding just about anybody on the court because of her versatility. So she's going to be fantastic there for them at that level. And then with Sarah going to DePaul, DePaul is a very solid. Every year, their team is one of the top teams in the D3 in the nation, and I think they got the steal of the scholarship pool, because Sarah was a girl before her injury that was getting several low to mid-level D1 looks because of her size and her ability to score. And with her injury, I'm sure that's probably what would have happened. But I actually I told Sarah the year that she had the injury. I said, Dave, everything happens for a reason. And I said, you don't know. And I honestly feel like the blessing in disguise was her being able to go to a school that she can go right into. I think they just graduated a girl last year in DePaul that was a big time scorer, probably going to the Hall of Fame for them. And Sarah can go right in. And I think she's got that position to come in and kind of, be that same type of player that they lost last year. Cause I think she's an absolute stud, that there are a lot of teams that would have just died to have her on the D1 level. And she's going to go D3 and get a great education in DePaul, and be able to star for them for probably 4 years and lead their team to more greatness. And they've just done a great job of recruiting and getting the right girls in there. And, all three of those girls are destined for success going forward. And be honest with you, Kelsey Crampton, I don't know how many emails and phone calls that I got after the season was over with of colleges saying, hey, is she available? Is she going to go anywhere? Because they realize that, role players are important. And I would tell them, hey, she is a role player. She's going to be, if you're expecting her to come in and be a girl that's going to get you, buckets and get you, points around the basket, she's going to do that, but it's going to be, on junk stuff. But she is an absolute leader, vocal. She does all the little things, boxing out, playing solid defense. She was my helper. And what I mean by that is on defense, like you got to have that girl that's in help position. And Kelsey was on the spot 90% of the time. She was right where I needed her to be. And that just comes from, years of her playing for us and knowing what we expect and knowing the defense. And she was probably the one I would say that knew the defensive philosophy and the defensive set better than any girl on our team. She knew exactly, and she should, because she's around the basket and the ball's always in front of her. So she should know, kind of be able to see she's kind of quarterback of the defense around the basket. So she had her opportunities, but and those were presented to her, but she'd already decided to go the nursing route, and she already had a college picked out. So it was a little too late for her to kind of switch gears, but she would have definitely been able to play at that next level for some teams. And so we had, 4 girls technically that probably would have, done great at that next level. So we're very fortunate, of course. And now we got to reload and try to create that magic again.
Yeah. So you lose 5 seniors off a team that's 34-1. I don't want to get too technical or anything like that, on a night like this, but is a revamping of the offense going to have to take place? I know that the defensive pressure is going to still be there, because that's what you coach and teach. And it's just part of the credo.
Right.
So is there like a big offensive change? I know you've got some shooters on the floor.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. You probably got, at least 4 of the best shooters, definitely in the conference, but maybe, in the central Illinois area on one squad. Yeah.
Well, for sure. I've always tried to be a student as well, look for different things that would fit our girls. We back when I coached at Shiloh, and then even in the early years with Madeline Brower, we had some big girls. We could score inside. We could use them to score, and we just haven't had that. Like I said, Kelsey did a great job defensively, but as far as building an offense around a post player the last few years, that just hasn't been part of it. But definitely, we want to get the ball in the hands of our guards. Between Trinity and Kendra and Madison and Kate, those are 3 girls that can do a lot with the basketball. So our offense is going to change somewhat. The problem has been is we just haven't really had much of a chance to get together and really work on it. I mean, it's hit and miss, and you try to do as much as you can when we had those contact days, but those were kind of sporadic as far as what we could do and what was allowed. And so we tried to put some of that stuff in, but it's hard to get an idea, what's going to work. But I feel like we've got the groundwork laid for some stuff that will change up, and some offense that will be hard to guard because it's not a set offense. I mean, there's some set things to it, but there's a lot of reading offenses or reading defenses, and some chances for girls to be put in the spot that they're successful at. So we've got we've got some girls on our team that are some good screeners, and so we've got some options to get some girls open, get them free, get them some shots. And like you said, we've got some girls that can shoot the ball, and I think that I'm not a coach that loves to shoot a lot of threes, although that might be you might say, well, that's kind of unbelievable that he would say that, but I prefer, if you're going to shoot a three, you better have twice as many shots around the basket, and we were able to create that last year by a lot of drives. But I do think that it's going to be tougher for us to get to the rim just because of our size. But we do have a couple girls that are pretty good at doing that, and Kate Littleton and Madison Rigdon. They're both girls that can get to the basket, but they're also not the same size as Carrington and Sarah, which makes it a little tougher to score. So we've got some growing pains to go through for sure, but I like the talent level of the girls coming back. They've got skill, but they're going to have to learn to play. I mean, look at T-Town on the court right now. They lost some girls, but they're still going to have several of those girls back, and the girls that they replace them with, they're never small. They're all big girls. So I mean, we're gonna be undersized this year from a standpoint. I thought this was a really good part of the game. Carrington, we'd had trouble scoring up to this point, and Carrington gets fouled and just throws one up there, and it banks in. And I actually think it was an and one. I really think they shouldn't have waved this off, and she got it to go down and didn't know she did. So she kind of had a look on her face like, what I just do right there. But
yeah, agreed. That was right in front of our bench where we were broadcasting the game, and we said the exact same thing to each other. But yeah, you go from, get back to this game a little bit, you go from, being down 7, possibly double digits toward the end of the first quarter to now where you're just kind of asserting yourself as, okay, this is Lady Tiger basketball again. To the point where you get back into this game, and with halftime coming up close here, I'm sure that you and Missy were like, let's just get back to within 5, within 4.
Yep, that's exactly what we were thinking. We were just trim it, get it close, get into halftime and make it close and make them feel that we're not going away. Cause that's exactly what we would want to do. If the tables were turned here, we would be like, put them away, like extend it, put them away. So if we keep it close, and just make our girls, okay, we're at halftime when we're close, and they know we're not going away, then they know it's going to be a battle. And I tell you that we talk about this a lot as coaches. When I talk to Coach Brinkley and other coaches that I talk to a lot, but I mean, in basketball, it's a momentum thing. It just really is, and it's a feel thing. And if you feel good about your opportunities and your chances, you're gonna just assert yourself that much more. And you just want to have the girls feeling like, okay, we're in this. They're not gonna get away from us like they had the last couple of years, where it was just not going to be possible to win. Right there, I mean, just look at Carrington's hands and her hustle. Like, just knows and just is waiting for that girl to do a crossover, and then immediately on the floor to dive on the ball. She's an incredible athlete, just incredible athlete. It's just, you just can't even teach the things that she was able to do. It's honestly like a wild horse. You just got to appreciate them for what they are, because there's some things that, sometimes she get too wild on her risky play. But when she does something like right there, diving on the floor, I bet she's been on the floor 10 times already in this game. And it's just, you can't teach a girl something like that. You just have to have it. And she's an amazing player. And I really hope that she, stays healthy and is able to do well at Lakeland, because, she got a lot of good basketball ahead of her.
Yeah, for sure. And it, just a pleasure to watch her, for the years that she was here, coming from Chrisman, to come down and to contribute to the program the way she did. You hate to see them all go. All the girls that graduate through here, you don't want to single any of them out. Right. but to see that style of play, I don't know that we've seen it before. I don't know and you don't know how many years it's going to be until we see something like that again. Just the way she put her body on the line and to only miss. The time she was here, she missed a half a season with a major knee injury. Very fortunate in that regards, but you don't win the games you do without her out there.
Right, and it's unfortunate. I think the last 2 years she got toward the end of the season and had an ankle injury. The 2 out of the last 3 years. So she did it her sophomore year, and then again her senior year. And honestly, that ankle injury, it was a pretty bad one. I mean, it really was. She is, and getting into that, like, she is literally one of the toughest girls I've ever coached. I've coached 2 or 3 girls. I had a girl that broke her foot. Erin Downey broke her foot on the first quarter of a game, had a Jones fracture, which is one of the long bones that runs on the outside of her foot. And she came over. I mean, this is 15, 20 years ago, came over and, says, I hurt my foot. It's bad. And at the time, I didn't even know what a Jones fracture was. I just said, should we tape it up? And she's like, let's try it. She played that whole game with a broken foot. We didn't know till afterwards. That was a championship game of the Christmas tournament at Christmas time. She was just an absolute, mentally, physically tough girl, would do anything. Lauren Bogle was another one that would just play through any possible injury. And Carrington Crable, I can't even say enough about how tough the girl is. Just as the grit there's a big 3 by Sarah on a little pitch and catch back from, I think it was Madison there, but that was a big shot in the game just to start the third quarter off there. But going back to Carrington, again, you just don't. I mean, her parents have to be proud of just the way that they brought her up and taught her to be tough, and she would literally run through a wall for me if I asked her to, if it meant we could win the game. And I think if she didn't have that injury, she gutted it out. But we finally ran into a team that we needed all 5 girls, especially the way we shot, that last game against T-Town. I haven't really, I've talked to too many people about it outside my, coaching circle, but, we just shot poorly that night. I know they played good defense, but, between 2 or 3 of our top shooters, we didn't shoot all that well. And I don't think it was necessarily, something that they did. I know they guarded Sarah very tough, but she did get some good looks. Madison got some good looks. Jenna got a lot of good looks, and just, it's just one of those nights just didn't go down. And out of any night that it needed to happen, I'd have traded it with any other game we played against T-Town, even this one right here, to get that one back. But having Carrington, hurt during that game, it was just real tough to get something else going the way they were if we were not shooting well. Carrington's usually one that scores in and around the basket for us if we need something, and that just wasn't in the game for her that night. So, we right there, Sarah's going in and got a blocking call. So we're turning up the heat here. We're taking the ball to the rim on them, to try to score inside, get to the free throw line. If you look at the way basketball's going, it's either a layup or a 3-pointer these days, and the analytics say that's the way to win a game is that. I know there is something about a mid-range game, but you just don't get that many mid-range shots anymore because the defense is, that's where they're guarding at, and they're going to kind of dare you to shoot those threes now.
Perfect examples right here against T-Town. Coach Tar and I joke a lot about, every girl in Teotopolis is 6 foot blonde, and
right.
That's kind of the way it is. So your mid-range game is completely non-existent, basically,
right.
when you're playing against them. So that takes a few plays out of your playbook. And it's that's why it's so tough to beat a team like this. Once, let alone twice, and 3 times, as we found out, it's kind of very difficult to do. But just before we get down to crunch time here, I want to kind of touch base with you on, a couple things off topic. I know we're coming to the end of the third quarter here, but we'll definitely get into the fourth quarter and the overtime period when we get there. But just a question, what are the Tingleys up to now? So, I'm going to include Missy because I know that like last week she'd probably been playing for her third straight state championship. So what have you guys been doing to keep from going stir crazy?
Well, I want to correct you. That would be the fourth straight state championship.
There you go. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But honestly, we just talked about this the other day. I said, and it's we've talked about it before, but just again, is this what life is like that if you're not a coach? It's strange. We're still trying to keep fresh on being coaches and stuff, because you have to, just like girls have to practice their skills. You have to practice being a coach. You want to be sharp yourself. So talking basketball, watching basketball, looking at different things as far as things that we might be able to add or whatever. So you're evaluating different things, but life has slowed down quite a bit. We're able to actually, I've eaten more dinners with my family at a table in the last, I'm not joking. This is crazy. And it's been awesome. I've so enjoyed, this, being able to, so it's a blessing. And honestly, it's a blessing. At the same time, it's not what I would choose it to be. But we got to take what we can get. And right now, the best part about not playing basketball and being, in the situation we're in, where we're, have to stay home a lot more and we don't have practices and we don't have games, is I have been able to spend a ton more time with my family at a dinner table, which was unheard of and unthinkable at the last 5 or 6 years. It was a rare occasion where that would happen, and I can come home and cook dinner at 5 o'clock and have it on the table by 6, and then we can kind of wind down for the evening, which usually it's maybe you're home, maybe if you're lucky you're home by 6, and maybe you're lucky if you have dinner on the table by 7, if at another coaching or at another practice or whatever. So that's what we've been doing a lot of is spending time together. When I get a chance, Trinity and Jackson have been, working out here when they can, working out at the gym when they have the opportunity. Missy and I still have our obviously normal routine of morning workouts with ourselves and then going to school. But after school has been a completely different animal than what it's ever been before for us. So like I said, I got to look at it as a blessing, because this is time that I would have never had the opportunity to share with my family. And unfortunately it's taken away basketball, but it's what it is. I can't control that, but I can control, the time that I do get with my family. So it's been fun.
Yeah. You got to say, I miss being around you guys, the little bit that I am around you guys. I just miss it, the enthusiasm you guys bring, and kind of along those lines. First off, this thing that we're doing right now, it's a brainchild of your athletic director, Creighton Tarr. Kind of said, hey, can we throw something together to kind of fill up Friday nights, because none of us know what to do with our Friday nights anymore.
Right, yeah.
In your case, Monday, Thursdays, and whenever else. But it kind of touched on the way that the town and the fans kind of really rallied around the girls last year. Funny story, funny side note. Got a cousin that lives in Terre Haute. Had 3 boys that they played various sports over at Terre Haute South. So a school with 2,000 kids.
Right.
So he kind of grew to the point where he got tired of sitting home on Friday nights too. So kind of as we're heading toward the postseason and getting a lot of momentum on our side, we're 26-0, 27-0, whatever. Him and his uncle would come sit and watch the girls' games. When he had 3 boys in school, it was like, girl sports, just kind of a joke. And then all of a sudden you see him at girls' games. And this guy's, he's a diehard basketball sports fan. Yeah. And he didn't have a dog in the fight. Neither one of them did. Yeah. But, just come to watch the games, just sitting a couple of rows behind where we all sit, there on our scores table and your bench. Now I talked to him at the end of the games, and then all of a sudden, something caught my ears, like, They started referring to Lady Tigers as we. Hey,
Yeah.
we didn't play as good as we could have. We should have beat them by 30 or 40 or whatever. It's just amazing, and that's just one story out of so many.
Yeah.
And you see it in the sectional title game against T-Town, to end the season. There's not been that many people in the stands, aside from graduation, May Fate, whatever.
Yeah.
So just kind of, if you can just kind of speak to and touch to the fans and just the way that they rallied around the girls, and we're good at doing that. Don't get me wrong, we did the same thing for the football.
Right. Absolutely. Right. Well, I mean, I can say that if I had to, if I had one memory of the game that was positive, because there's a lot of, losing that game, there's a lot of negative, thoughts I have about things that happened in the game that just didn't turn out our way. But I do, one of the positive things, and one of the things that I'll always remember, is looking over at the crowd and just looking up at the stands before the game was tipping off. It honestly, it puts you in a little bit of an awe. You're in awe, and I think if I'm in awe, the girls have to be in awe, because I've been in situations a lot more often than they have in that setting, and I was honestly taken back by the support, especially on that particular night that our community showed for the girls. And it wasn't, like you said, it wasn't just our community. I know a lot of people that came from out of town, friends of families, friends of the girls that played for another team, maybe even that had already been done with their season, came to watch and support their friends. But yeah, it was a special time. I feel like about the time we win regionals, we're undefeated, win a regional, and start to kind of stretch our legs out a little bit, thinking deep postseason run, hopefully a trip to Bloomington, and we start to get the community going. And I feel kind of unsettled about the fact that we got everybody there, and we had that opportunity to really get the whole town going for a couple 3 weeks of just like, this is fun, and not that it wasn't, but like, just feel like we fell short of an opportunity to really do something special, and kind of get on that path to Bloomington, and just fell short that night. So I feel just disappoints me still to this day of kind of falling short that night for the girls, because I know they wanted it as much as anything else, and to do it and to have all those people there and not be able to deliver for them and not give them that satisfaction. It's tough to deal with, but at the same time, you put yourself there, and if we didn't have that success up to that point, there might not have been that many people following us to begin with. It might just have been another game. But after beating them twice, T-Town had a pretty good showing there that night as well for their team as well. So it was a really fun night as far as leading up to it, but just ended up being their night, and rightfully so. They beat us fair and square. I feel like there was some calls in that game. An and one by Madison that would have got us in early. Just some foul calls that just felt like just didn't go our way or wasn't called when I felt like we had a chance to kind of get back in the game. Honestly, we were down by 3 at one point, and I don't even know how we were at that point, because we had played an absolute horrible game and was down by 3, and I think we got a turnover, missed a transition pull up. And then they came down, hit a 3-pointer, and that just kind of, put them right back with some distance between us, and just never could get it back. But I know there was all kinds of signs all over town, black and orange, girls' names on plaques. We had businesses painting, storefronts and things like that. So it's something I know that the girls will never forget, as far as what they were able to do and how they were able to rally the community. And I hope like you said, the football team's done that before. I hope the boys get that back to that level of being able to do that as well, because I know there's a lot of pride that goes into Paris basketball, whether it's on the boys or girls side. And I want that for both programs. And hopefully Coach Brinkley's, got him on the right path. And I know he is literally beside himself right now, waiting just to get back. He just wants to get another chance again. And that's awesome, because I remember, back in my early days of coaching, you're just fired up every game. You just we can't wait for that chance to improve, and to take that next step and get to that level. And so, hopefully we're able to, get back to that point. So, yeah, see, we kind of bumped up. But you look at the score; it's 28-29 or 30-29 right now. All 2.5 minutes to go or so, and it's absolute crazy that the game's that low scoring. I don't think either team really felt themselves offensively this night. And
yeah, that's a first quarter score for us generally. Remember Lenny about that?
Yeah, maybe not against P-Town, but you're right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's a bad quarter for us sometimes. But if I remember right, this is our first lead of the game, of course, and then from here on out.
You're right, and then they came right back and took it back. But we get here, and I think we have the ball late, and we might even be able to go that last play. We get it, and we call a timeout with like 12 seconds left, I think, and we get Jenna and Sarah in a little screen and roll action there with about 12 seconds left, and I think Jenna gets fouled on her way up, and we miss the shot, and we actually get a jump ball, and our inbounds play that we ran. We just didn't get it. We didn't get the ball where we wanted, so we had to kind of take a desperation shot for OT. So,
what's missed in this, while we were talking over it, it seemed like one of the officials had it out for us, and definitely had it out for you. they're in that late third, early fourth, where every call was going against us. That happens. I get it. But still, watching it, just kind of keeping one eye on it in the background. No overaction from the girls. No, poor us, poor me, poor whatever. It's just kind of a move on, next play type of deal.
It's funny because every once in a while they do get that way, and I always tell them, "Hey, I got you. Like I'm giving them enough that you don't need to give them any, and I got your back. I'll protect you. I'll fight for you." Is what I said. I'll fight for you. Let me.
If I recall, that was pretty close to Coach TT.
Yeah. They don't happen on. Oh, there's a nice and one by Phantom with left hand, and that's a little play we ran to get her. We put that in late in the year. It's a little screen that she gets from Sarah and gets her rolling downhill. Just to the body control and the strength to finish that with her left hand while getting bumped
by a 6-footer. Yeah, I think that's the Bika girl, who's just a great ball player in her own right. So, this is if I remember right, this is a big momentum swinger for us. Gave us a 2-point lead, I believe, with the free throw.
We did, and that's the other thing about this team. I guess I watched a little bit of it earlier today just to kind of refresh my memory on it. There's a big shot by Niemerg. She had a nice pull. She has a very, very smooth pull-up jumper. That's a great shot right there at the elbow. But our defense, really we felt like we could, with our perimeter girls, we could switch any defender onto any person at any given time. So that was what was great, is even if we had Madison typically on the other team's best player, but if we had to switch off of a screen and get Jenna or Sarah or Carrington on them, it honestly didn't matter. And that's the versatility of our defense, is when we did play man. Screens really didn't do a whole lot against us, because we would jump the screen or we would just straight switch it. Or I had some girls that were really good about seeing the screen coming or getting a tip off from a teammate, and they would just suck tight to their girl and get on top of the screen. This is where we're holding the ball here at the end, and I get ready to call a timeout. And
to have 4 ball handlers the way you do, 3 in this situation, but 4 ball handlers on the court at any one time, and the outlet with Kelsey, this is just something that you could definitely shorten the game, which generally you did not do, but in this instance, it was definitely warranted. To work down and hopefully get that last shot.
Right. And right there, Jenna she loves to drive left. She drives left better than she drives right, which is amazing that she's a right-hander, but her strength is to her left, and she got downhill off of a screen. Do you switch on that when Sarah Ives is the one giving the screen? So we thought we could get an advantage there. They had great help defense, but I think she got hit on the way up. And again, referees are just trying to make sure the game is decided. Not on a free throw. That happens sometimes. We have to end up throwing, a ball to Carrington there, and here it goes into overtime. But overtime definitely goes in our favor.
Yes, yeah, that is for sure. And from the first possession on, it just seemed like T-Town, for whatever reason, even though you'd played almost an extra game over the course of this, seemed like they were the ones that were gassed.
Yeah, and that's true. I was like, if you believe this or not, if you ask the girls how many times we ran walls or ran some type of conditioning stuff during practice, it wasn't very often. We just didn't do that stuff. I look at our teams like this year, we might be doing a lot more running. I don't know. It just depends. You look at your team and you decide what you need to do. And we had seniors that had a lot of tread on their legs, and we wanted to keep them fresh. But when we practiced, they went hard. They were gassed when they went through, a defensive drill, or they went through a shooting drill or whatever. And really didn't have to do a lot of running with this team. And, but it's different teams, require different types of coaching and different types of things that you're going to do with them to prepare them. And this team just didn't need conditioned as much as some other teams I've had in the past. And, we really weren't, we did press, but we weren't I would not call us a pressing team. I would call us a pressure team, not a pressing team. But they were relentless as far as, how they were able to be conditioned in comparison to a team like T-Town. And again, that's the old adage, the bigger they are, I think in a game like this, our guards were able to sustain a lot longer than their guards and their post players that were a little bigger bodies. Takes a little bit more energy to exert throughout the game. So definitely to our advantage there.
Yeah, just kind of watching the back or the corner of my eyes, this is going on, and it's just a second shot for T-Town in the overtime period.
Right.
We just basically lived on our end in the OT, and that's it's one thing to I just saw a steal there. Sorry.
Yeah, they got in the passing lane, picked that thing off, and I think we got her before she went up for it. I think this is the one.
Yeah, it was a good foul if I recall.
It was.
Otherwise, you're giving a tying layup if I remember. Go back to the start of this overtime period, and Maddie knocking down the first three kind of set the tone. You don't think of Maddie as, at least in this instance, as a sophomore.
No, absolutely not.
Acted nothing like a sophomore. She's out on the court, one of your strongest girls physically, but then with finesse to go out and shoot the three, and just a lockdown defender, which you got coming back for, the next 2 years.
And again, everything happens for a reason. If Sarah doesn't go down the year before, does Madison get as many quality minutes as she did? She ended up playing a ton as a freshman because of Sarah's injury. And then that obviously paid off this last year, because you get Sarah back, and you have a Madison Rigdon that's played a whole year of varsity basketball as a freshman, and then comes in as a sophomore, and she doesn't see the bright lights as there's a great offensive board and put back by Carrington. Again, she carves out rebounds, just creates a space. If she's quick to the ball, obviously not a big girl to box out. She just the first to the ball when she carves in that little space, and had a great putback. But
so if I'm looking at the Paris Tiger or Lady Tigers playbook, you got 20 plays. How many of them ran for Carrington?
You know what?
Very
It's
few. I mean,
it's funny because, the year before Carrington, at the
Yes.
end of the year, she was averaging about 18 points a game for us. 'Cause that's the thing. It's amazing to me. That's what set our team apart. Carrington, came in this year and she could have been like, hey, I'm going to be able to average as much as I want. And she knew her role, we didn't have to. I said, Carrington, here's the thing. We don't have to run plays for you, babe, because you are a play yourself. Like anytime you get the ball, you're a threat to score, whether that's on a putback or whether that's on a shot fake and drive. And you just didn't. That's what's great is you got a girl that can score that you don't have to run plays for. And here they're double teaming us, putting a little double team. We call this red defense is what we call it. We double team the pass and again, like you said before, when we got girls that can handle the ball the way these girls can, and we practice this offense and defense into the game. We practiced this last year as much as we've ever practiced it before. Situational basketball, at the end of the game, if we want to milk the clock, how do we do it? Rick Gosnell came in a couple of years ago and gave us a great set at the end to be able to run to kind of milk the clock. And then we just like any coach does, you take what one coach gives you and you put your little twist on it. And we ran several different plays out of it where people think we're just trying to, milk the clock, and then we hit them with a back door. We hit them with a screen, a screen on the outside for a shot or whatever it is. And so our girls were very versed on how to handle the end of a game offensively and defensively. Even though there wasn't a ton of games where defensively we had to put on our pressure and try to go for those double teams, but they did know what they were doing when they had to. So for them to prepare for any situation. Right here, great job by Sarah of just saying, okay, we got the lead. We don't need to go score right now, and pulled that ball out.
That's after she dove in front of the T-Town bench to force a turnover there.
Correct.
10 months removed from knee surgery.
Right. And I don't know how many people know this, but she was not 100% this year. I mean, there was practices where we would just be like, hey, you're done. Like she'd say, hey, it's really hurting me today. You're done. So she was not 100% this year. I actually, talking with her dad and talking with her and talking with the trainer, I don't know if we could have done a better job as a collective group in handling her injury throughout the year, because it was literally a daily, kind of decision on what. And then the hardest part was getting Sarah to be vocal about how she was feeling, because early on in her injury, I would ask her, "How you doing? What's up? Give me all the details." And her first reaction would always be, "It's fine. I'm okay. I'm fine." And it came down to a great job by Carrington to get through that screen there. But it came down finally telling her, "It's okay. Be honest with me. If you're hurting a little bit today, we don't need you to win the game tonight at practice. We need you to help us win the game tomorrow night versus Olney or versus Matt Toon or whatever." And when she finally, early on in the season, after 2 or 3 weeks of just trying to, she's wanting to play tough. She's wanting to be the girl. I can play through injury. And I said, I know you can. You're not proving anything to me by playing through it, because I already know how tough you are. But we only got so much tread on your tires this year. Let's save it. And so I think between the trainer, and talking with her dad and talking with her and Missy and I, we came up with a great plan of like how we would, work her out. And then there we go right there with some great defense at the end, knock down free throws like you're supposed to win a game, and end up winning this game by 11 or by 9. And, they only scored 2 points in that overtime. So we did a great job defensively to hold them there. And that's, the first time we'd beat T-Town in Charleston, and also the first time we'd won that Charleston tournament in several years. So it's a big win for our program, and definitely, like you said, kind of paved the way going forward for that run that we had throughout the season. So excited to get back out on the court, hopefully sometime this spring, and see this happen all over again. So
Yeah, I'm sure this hasn't whetted your appetite at all doing this, but we really do appreciate you stopping by and sharing an hour with us. I know there's a lot of games that we could have chosen for this particular occasion, but really thought that this was one that really kind of put us on the map, so to speak, as far as we all know how it ended. As I mentioned before, but we didn't know how good we were until this 1 week over at Charleston, and then all of a sudden, the sky was the limit over the next 2 months.
Yep, absolutely. It was a great run. Enjoyed having you having me on, and we hopefully we can do this again sometime, but hopefully we don't have to. I'm actually hoping that we're actually live out there on the court next time I get to talk to you. But if not, I'd be happy to come back and do it again.
Yeah, so what we're going to do here is just kind of run over some of the bigger games from over the last 20, 30, 40 years, whatever we have video for. So the Lady Tigers and Coach Tingley may be joining us again. We're going to do this over the next few Fridays, but Coach, I really appreciate you stopping by and taking the time out of your evening for us.
Yep.
So we will
Thanks
talk
for
to
having
you
me.
again soon.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
Lady Tiger head coach Dave Tingley. We appreciate him sharing some time with us and some thoughts as to the Lady Tigers championship game victory over Teotopolis Lady Wooden Shoes. The first time that the three would meet up. Lady Tigers went 2-1 against them last year. We're going to quickly transition as I'm joined now by the Paris Tiger varsity basketball coach Chase Brinkley.
How are we
Chase,
doing?
are you there? Good. Good to hear from you. I'm glad you made some time for us tonight. Typically, we would just getting ready to tip off a varsity game on a Friday night at Paris High School or wherever we might be. But tonight we got a little special treat for you. We've got a big game, a big victory for us against Tolono Unity last year. Didn't know how similar these two games were. They're actually just played about 3 days apart. This was the first game back after Christmas break. And Coach, how have you been? That's kind of the question that's at the forefront of everybody's mind now, in light of what's going on. So how has life been for Chase Brinkley the last 9 months?
Oh, it's been stressful, but not as stressful as it's been for the boys, I'm sure. As I've talked to Coach Tingley, I've talked to Coach Claude, I've talked to Coach Tar, and a bunch of other coaches that I know that, we're all kind of on the same. We all have the same thought that, at some point it's going to go back to normal for us, or hopefully it will, for us coaches. But, for the boys, it's not, they don't get it back, for these kids. They don't get these 4 years back. So it's just really stressful for them. And hopefully we can get going here maybe in January or wherever in the spring. I don't know, but hopefully we'll get the chance. I know Coach Ting, I was listening to you guys before. I know we both are thinking the same thing. Hopefully we get some answers here pretty soon.
Yeah, like you say, it's tough for any kid that's in school, especially your upperclassmen. And we didn't touch base on this before, but a lot of other sports have missed out on their seasons with no chance to get it back. The spring sport athletes from last year that graduated. And I'd be remiss looking at them now if I didn't mention the cheerleaders as well. I didn't necessarily want to start this off, but I don't want to leave them out either. As far as athletes go, and kind of what we're going to do here, Coach, just let the game kind of play in the background. When we get down closer to crunch time, or if you see something that you want to discuss, just let us know. Got Nathan Bell running behind the scenes. He's running a video and could not do this without him. But yeah, you just feel for those. And, a lot of the guys you see out on the court now, you're going to have back this year, I should say.
Yeah, no, exactly. We've got 4 or 5 seniors that, played a ton of minutes for us last year. And we've got, a few others that we expect to step up in a big role, and not to mention the underclassmen that would be up there as well that are missing out to play with these guys. It's just frustrating for everybody.
Yeah, you don't really realize that. That's a good point that you make. Yes, these seniors and juniors are missing out on it, but as far as the program goes, you've got to have those freshmen and sophomores getting on the court, getting playing time, getting used to playing together, getting used to your assistant coaches, your styles, and different things like that, so that when their time comes, to play the late game on Friday night, they're ready to go, and know what you expect out of them.
No doubt. And it's frustrating because, this is going into my second year. These seniors had a year under hearing my voice. And, I was expecting, my staff was expecting, and hopefully the community had, high hopes and was expecting us to, take big strides this year. And I thought we did last year. And now it just feels kind of like we're taking 10 steps back, and it would have really helped. And hopefully it still does. Hopefully we still have a season. I don't want to have too much of a negative tone here, but it would be nice to have these seniors, be around these younger guys to, show them how it's done, that have been through the ropes, been through the ringer a little bit, and know what varsity basketball is all about, and get us prepared for the future.
Yeah, you kind of think back and look up and down the rosters of the other teams in that little Illini conference. Not too many of them return 4 starters with the amount of minutes that our 4 guys got. You talk about Garrett King and Jude Sullivan, of course, Mason Hutchings and J.R. Brinkroft getting a lot of playing time. You just see the growth of them. We're only, as far as this game goes, we had the North American Lining Tournament, a couple regular season games. So we may be 10 games into the season here. At this point, when we're playing Tolono, non-conference game, but you just see the growth that they had from the beginning until now. And then, you see them toward the end of last year. So I kind of want to get out of the way here and, if you can, just in 500, 1,000 words or more, whatever you can, just kind of give us a synopsis of your first season, a recap, head coach at your alma mater, and if it was everything you thought it would be, what was kind of the ins and outs, ups and downs of it.
Yeah, it's a difficult change for me coming from, coaching college for 6 or 7 years. And being an assistant, being a guy that's sitting down that can watch the game and not look at everything, but look at little tidbits here and there, or look for certain details of what the defense is doing, or what one guy is doing, what one matchup's doing. This was my first time outside of an AAU team that I coached that it was, me being the head guy, looking at everything, and then going back and reevaluating and seeing what we did, or what I could have done better, what we could have done better as a staff, what I missed, what we need to work on, that sort of thing. And, talking about this game right here, is I thought we came out extremely lethargic. As you guys have probably seen here a little bit, we're walking the ball up. We have no sense of urgency. We're just kind of going through the motions, and not really attacking them. We're letting them get from side to side, get it in the middle, get it down low, doing whatever they want. Now right here, we're playing a little bit harder. We take a charge, so that's good. We like that. But, we teach to get up in them, have a little, pep in our step and get into things. We're not setting screens very well here, but, later on we start picking it up in the second half, as you'll see. And then, I think this game kind of gave us a bit of confidence moving forward. These juniors and seniors at this time hadn't won too many games. Like, they had not won very many conference games, and we were fortunate to win 2 on the road back to back. Now it's against Red Hill and Flora. You can say what you want, but it's at least we got it, and we've been struggling. But I thought this game here had really helped us build some confidence moving forward. Once the second half comes up and we go in the locker room and we change some things up and we talk about it as a staff and we come out and execute it, and we have, like I said before, a little sense of urgency that we wanted to be out there, we wanted to play, and that's what we tried to fight a lot last year, is just having that intensity and that fight that we didn't have in the first half here.
Yeah, and it's kind of a synopsis of your season too. Kind of a slow start, kind of wait to get things going, but then once that second half, or in this case January 1st, that you flip that calendar, and it seems like as you'll see if you're watching at home later on in this game, that second half, the intensity's turned up. Your student section gets involved in it, and it kind of felt the way that the games used to feel, and will feel again in the future. If you can just kind of talk about, I know that Coy graduated. We see him out on the court here, just a hard-nosed kid that, a football player on a basketball court. You and I have talked about that, but it's that mentality that he brought. If you can just kind of talk a little bit about Coy and what he brought to the table for you.
I was talking about doing this Zoom call, and I was talking with Coach Clodfelter, and I was just thinking back of specifically Coy, and how I wish I had him back, just because he did everything. He's not the most skilled offensively. He put hard every second he was out on that court. He'd come in a lot bloody and sweaty and out of breath. He just, he's diving on the floor. He's doing everything right. And down the stretch, like, it goes hand in hand that he starts making shots. And I'm pretty sure he made a few big shots. He got to the free throw line and make some big drives, and even this game, and that's an energy builder, and it energizes the whole crowd, and energizes myself and the other guys on the floor. It's just, is that him right there? I think it is. He's rolling around. He makes the layup. He rolls around right on cue. He's just a hard-nosed kid that would do anything for you. And that showed on the football field, and it showed here. I just wish we had him back, but it's good that he was here last year and showed the guys how it's done, and hopefully we get a chance to prove it again, here a few months.
Yeah, and that's one thing that you can't coach is hustle, but one thing that you can coach and instill in them is the willingness to fight for you, to play hard for you, and that, that's definitely one thing that he did, and you could see, when he was on the court, the game's at a different speed. Not just him, the guys around him. That probably going to be a challenge for you this year to kind of fill that. Who's going to be your energy guy coming up, because every successful team needs one of those guys. So I guess that's where you earn your pay, is finding that next player that's going to step up for you. But I'm sure you got a few of them in mind.
Right. Yeah. Well, if I can find another Coy or build another Coy out of this group, I might need a pay increase here. But we got guys. I mean, we've got guys that can do it. They just have to do it. I think Garrett King gives his all the time. He's a little more skilled, not quite as big, but to be honest with you, we hit the weight room really well this offseason. And that's a testament to just the boys. I mean, and Coach Clodfelter and his coaching staff, they did a great job. But
yeah, you've definitely got some size and some strength on that floor at all times. And one thing that I was really impressed about, I kind of want to touch on him a little bit. J.R. Brinkerhoff and the improvement he made. I know that he played some JV minutes for you as well, but he was an integral part and kind of the muscle of the team. They're going down the last, month or so of the season.
Yeah. I mean, he's a force when he wants to be, and that's just getting him. He's such a laid back kid. He's laid back at all times. I've got him in class, in my PE class, and he's just laid back. You get him out there and he plays hard and his hands are all over the place. You can put him anywhere on the court because he's quick enough to get from place to place. On the defense end, I can put him anywhere. Not extremely skilled, but is capable enough. He had a big game against Tri-County in the holiday tournament and the championship game. I mean, without him, I don't think we would have won, and he just does all the little things. You saw earlier, he took a big charge. Those are just energy plays that you don't teach. Like you said, it's just, you want guys that are willing to give up their bodies and willing to do these things that's going to help us win and, win close, tight games like we did to this game here.
Yeah. So let's, before we get into crunch time, once again, thanks for everybody for joining us on the special night, joined by Paris Tiger head basketball coach Chase Brinkley. You're watching, I believe it's January 3rd, this game between the Tigers and Tolono Unity. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like button if you would. The thumbs up button, that really helps us out a bunch. So Coach, want to kind of touch on the elephant in the room here. There's not a lot that you can do with the boys right now. I know, the guidelines are such where it's, one at a time or whatever. So as far as basketball goes, that doesn't work. But like you've had experience, at the college ranks, worked around some good guys, some great coaches. So you're always adapting and changing and listening and learning from others. If you can, just kind of touch on who some of your go-to guys are, as far as gathering ideas, information, whether they be in basketball or not.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to a lot of my former coaches, either I played for or coached with, or just buddies that are in, that I've met through coaching at all the different places I've been, or former teammates, and it goes all the way back to my junior high coach, John Heath. He's one of my good friends now and a great basketball mind. I still talk to him almost on a daily basis. Big college basketball fans. So we talk about games that are going on. We were talking about the Wisconsin game that just got over right now. It's just, so I talked to him. I talked to Terry Elston, who was my coach in high school. Talk to him all the time. We were just talking, I think yesterday or the day before, just about, how, even though we can't play right now, he asked me what I'm doing to better myself and, to help the program in the future, and I couldn't tell you how many plays I've written down just from watching different college basketball games on. I'd be going crazy if there wasn't some sort of basketball going on right now. So I am thankful that we've got college basketball going and going as well as it can, right now, with no fans and everything. It's a little weird, but those are just little things that I'm doing to keep myself sane and keep myself up and, bettering myself. And I know my coaching staff is doing that as well. Adam Vilk and Zach Walls, we talk it all the time about different games that are going on. They'll shoot me a text and say, hey, did you watch this? Did you watch that? They'll send me something. I'll send them something, So it's just staying in contact and staying with the game and just doing what you can. I talked to Mike Burris, who is the head coach at Only Central, where I played and coached for 4 years. Well, played for 2 years and then coached for 4 years under him. Now he's the assistant at University of Indianapolis, and we just talk and just talk the game. It's just little things you see, little details. Stepping in your pass, being shot ready, passing with your opposite hand. Just little things that just the everyday viewer may not look at, but some of these better, more high IQ guys than me when it comes to the game pick up on and shoot me a video or whatever it is to show me what they're talking about. It's good to have as many guys that I know still stay in touch and help me out because I need it.
Yeah. Well, it's just amazing. You like you just said, you touched on Coach Burris and, his success that he's had. And they still get back to the fundamentals of what you're trying to teach these kids. You get them when they're 14 years old, and when they leave, they're 18. But it's stuff that they learn, are supposed to learn in junior high, can learn even more so from you. So, that's the one thing, the fundamentals never stop. And, you see videos of kids that are, stuck at home now. And a lot of them are just working on those little fundamentals and getting better so that when the time comes, and Coach Tingley and I touched on this briefly, you just don't know. The kids don't know what's going on. They look to the adults don't know what's going on. So being a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid right now, none of us know what it's like.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's frustrating. I know we do a good job. I think Toby does a good job with the city league, and our junior high coaches do a great job. But it's an everyday thing. You've got to be on them and stay on them and do those fundamentals every single day. We worked on pivots and passing with the outside hand, like I said, and jump stops. Every single practice at every level I played at or coached at. Nothing changes. We're not reinventing the wheel. You're just playing a game that's been played for years and years. Now, as you can see in this game, there are barely any screens set on either side. We're not setting up screens. We're not rubbing off screens. And we're not hitting anybody, or we're throwing a ball away like that whenever a guy is going up to set a screen. It's just, it's something that you got to continue to harp on, and it gets boring at times. But you've got to ingrain that into the kids. And, I think we do I know we work on it every day, and I know Bob Abernathy and Rod Roderick do it every day. They do a pretty good job down there, and boys are ready. We just got to continue with it, and don't try to get too advanced. That's something that Coach Burris talked to me about whenever I told him I was leaving only and I was going to take this job. The main thing he told me was don't overcoach. And he goes,
there you go.
Whatever it is, like, the game, 20 times more than what these kids know. So whenever you start talking details and you talk about all the little or all the main things that we're talking about crossing the midline, as you're pushing it up, fast break, or if you're above the free throw line, you're doing this or that, or like just way too much coaching. I can't come up with specifics right now, but I know some coaches are like, okay, if you catch it above the free throw line, then you're looking this. If you catch it here, it's just too much for kids to think about. And I was that way, whenever I coached my AAU team, I'm like, okay, I'm going to make it simple for these guys if they do it this way. But a lot of times that's overcomplicating things, and then it's not allowing boys to play. So we work on fundamentals. But then whenever it comes to game time, at first, whenever we're running sets, I want the boys to understand the principles of the sets and where to be. But when it gets down to the end of the year, whenever we're playing regional time, hopefully they know the sets well enough that they can make reads and know the game well enough, because my coaching staff and I have been teaching it every day. Once you know the fundamentals and know how to set screens and how to set up screens and how to read your defenders and what's going on, that they can just react to the game and react to the defenders, and we don't have to run a pure set, because as we got good coaches in the LIC. They're going to have the scouting report. They're going to know what badger is, whatever our play is, you know, they're going to know what our boys are supposed to do. So they've got to make secondary reads and third reads and that sort of thing, and figure it out whenever it gets down to crunch time, whenever they're actually playing, and we can't just stop the game like we do at practice.
All right. So along those lines, let's kind of get inside of a head coach's job here. As we go to timeout, we can kind of fast forward through this a little bit. So when you get a film on another team, just kind of take us through. You're sitting in your room, your recliner by yourself, your laptop, your TV, or whatever. You're got the clicker in your hand. Kind of what things are you looking for from other teams? And then, you know, you kind of keep in the back of your mind what you have to work with, but basically what you're trying to find out, the other team's tendencies, stuff like that, that, you know, people like myself wouldn't know what to be looking for.
I mean, don't sell yourself short there, Jeff. You know the game pretty well. You're looking for what kind of defense they're in, how they're guarding ball screens, how they're guarding cross screens. Are they switching? Are they hedging? Are they plugging? You know, are they icing ball screens? You know, and then figure out how to attack them there. Do they have a press? Do they have, you know, you look at the full, you look at the full team things, the full team aspects. That's what I usually do moving forward, you know, just so I can kind of get it figured out. You know, at the college level, we tried to figure out, you know, at the end of shot clocks, sometimes teams would, you know, it gets down to 10 seconds, they would start switching whenever they didn't the rest of the game, you know, and that's the same thing at the high school level. You know, some teams, you may call a timeout and draw up a play with 20 seconds left and you need a shot, and they may be in man for 10 seconds. And then once that 10-second mark hits, they jump into a 2-3 zone. So you got to be prepared for that. So whenever I'm watching, I kind of look at those things, you know, because we're creatures of habit. All of us are, you know. So if I know that a team's got to come up with a play, or if they, you know, one team calls a timeout that we're watching, say I was watching a game against Tolono and St. Joseph or whatever, or St. Joe, they called a timeout with, say, 10 seconds, and they did that exact thing. So I would know to be prepared to run a play against a 2-3 instead of a man-to-man play, you know? So that's what I kind of start out with is look at those different things. And then I get into, you know, how we can break it down, who can we, or what, before I even get into personnel, you know, how spread out are they? Are they plugging? If they are running a zone, are they plugging? Are they keeping it in front? Or are they really getting out and trying to trap? Same thing with man-to-man. Are they really getting into the passing lanes and denying? I'll know that we can maybe look for backdoor plays, you know, just simple things like that. And then once I get a good feel for that and I've taken my notes, then I'll look at personnel. I'll look at guys that I think that we can attack. I think, you know, especially if they're switching, I'll see who I can have set a ball screen for a guy like Mason Hutchings who can attack somebody off the dribble. So then maybe we can get a big switched out on him and then, you know, pull it out and go 4 low and allow him to take him off the dribble and make a play. You know, is one person have a tendency to help too much? Is he really looking to steal? Is he looking to take charges? Then I know, you know, maybe we can put a Garrett King or Jude Sullivan on the weak side and skip it over to him and have him knock down a few shots, or a Zach Farnham, that sort of thing. And then I look for guys that I know are going to cause big issues, and I try to take them out of it. You know, we try to, you know, with a Noah Livingston from KZ or a Braden Flanagan from Only, you know, we try to get them in foul trouble. We try to post them up. We know they're smaller guys, so if they're going to switch, then we get them switched on a big guy. We get him post it up on the block and throw it down to them and try to get them in foul trouble. Now we try to do that, and you can ask Jude Sullivan, maybe he's listening. But it took us about a minute and a half whenever we had gone over it all week to try to get Braden Flanagan from Only down the block. And we said, hey, he could be guarding any one of us. But we'd been running, to my fault, I guess, a little too much. We'd been running Jude at the point and having him set it up that he didn't really see that Braden was guarding him, so he had to, it took us about a minute and a half to figure out that Jude was the guy that we needed down on the block to throw it to him. And hey, lo and behold, we get it down there after a minute or a minute and a half or whatever it was, and we get a foul called on him. But, those are the type of things I'm looking at, and, end of the game type situations. Do they happen to, what kind of full court press do they run, or are they going to face guard? So we, as you guys saw last year, we've got a play where we can throw it all the way down the court, and we got quite a few layups out of that. Or if they've got a guy in the middle taking up the half court line to alleviate us or from try to stop us, and that usually means nobody's guarding the ball. So then we can have the little play where a guy steps out of bounds on the baseline and throw it back to him. And I don't know. So there's a few different things that I look at every day, every time that I'm watching the scouting report.
I really like what you kind of brought up about, you're basically looking big picture to small picture, looking overall as a team, what they do, and then breaking it down. When you get down to the individuals, I really think that's intriguing to look at it that way. You can probably do that in just about any sport that you scout. Look big picture, then small. So you can see even this old guy learned a little something today. So let's go back to your and hopefully, as we get tapes and videos coming in, we'll be able to showcase one of your games, coming down the pike here, and get Coach Elston on here, Coach Gauze, stuff like that, to where they can kind of break you down and see. But going back to your playing days, or even college time, coaching or playing, any plays that you implement now with your squad that you either had when Terry coached, or during your college time?
Yeah, I mean, we run Wisconsin swing, and that's what that's what we ran my junior and senior year under Coach Elston. There's a few different ball screen plays that we ran even at junior high level with Coach Heath that I still implement, different little intricacies here and there. But, for the most part, there's not one coach out there that is coming up with genuine plays, unique plays. We've all got it from something. And there is I think that's the play, isn't it? That's
the big three from Garrett King down in the corner.
I haven't really been watching. It's kind of skipping on my computer here, but that was a big play. We haven't really been talking about the game, but hopefully people have been watching. A little more intensity here down the stretch. And actually in this game, speaking of which, when it comes to plays, we no, I don't think that wasn't.
No, that was one of his big ones. He had a few of them that night, if I remember.
Yeah, we're not that far into it, but it is funny that you bring up, what did I implement from, former coaches, that sort of thing, and then this second half we hadn't practiced a 1-2-2 once before we threw it in here. I knew that we needed some energy and we needed to change things up in a big way. So I'm like, we're going to play a 1-2-2 trap here. And all we did was just fly around. We didn't know what was going on. They didn't know what was going on. And somehow it worked. You'd rather be lucky than good sometimes. And we're pretty lucky there. But as long as we could confuse them a little bit more than what we were confused and we were all right. But we got a lot of turnovers in the second half here. We made some big shots. I thought Dustin Creech, another senior here, he played really well. He gave us a big spark here. He made a really nice move down the block that I remember, a little left shoulder, a little turn, and a little baby hook. It was big. Zach Farnham played well. Preston Porter's up here shooting right now. He's one that just plays really hard, and he doesn't get rattled. He plays really well. I just wish he was a little bit bigger, and I think he'd tell you the same thing, but he does. He plays really hard. And we got a bunch of guys that do that. But going back to what I've implemented from other coaches, a lot of it's what we ran at Only, and or University of Illinois Springfield where I played. We still do a lot of our practice. We do ball handling work at the beginning of practice every day, and that's what I did at University of Illinois Springfield whenever I played there. So, we do implement different things. We do a little passing drill. We implemented a passing drill to do warm-ups, or to start the game with warm-ups. I think right before regionals, because I thought our warm-up lines were lethargic, to say the least. So we did a little passing drill that Coach Elston got from somewhere, I'm sure, and implemented, and it got us going. So I was like, well, we'll try it. And I thought we played a lot harder down the stretch. So I don't know. Yeah, there's just there's a lot of things that, like I said, there's nothing that I'm, there's some little tweaks and everything that I might put in there, but nothing is 100% genuine and unique, and I would say if anybody tells you it is, they're liars.
Yeah, and touching back on this game, just kind of looking at it, we're down 6 points here, around 4 minutes to go, and you've got one of your starters from the game on the court, with four subs out there. But as you talked, this is where you implemented the 1-2-2. Looks like Farnham out on top, and energy just picked up. I joked with somebody about this particular game that it's kind of like watching an NBA game. Nothing happens till the final 2-3 minutes of the game, and then all of a sudden, here we go.
Right.
Yeah, just great energy brought from the guys off the bench. Garrett King's your only starter out on the court.
Right. Yeah. No, that's what I said. We brought a big spark here, and I think I need to wake some guys up, and my staff and I are not afraid to do that. If you're buddy with the guy, with the boys you're coaching at whatever level, you're not going to be very successful. And sometimes you gotta wake them up, and bring them out, and letting those other guys go in there that hadn't played a ton. You could tell they hadn't played a ton because they had a ton of energy at first and they got us back into it, but then they got tired. They got really tired because they just hadn't played. No matter how hard you try to go in practice, it doesn't replicate what a game is, and how intense a game is. So those guys got tired. We bring the starters back in. It wakes them up. It gives them a chance to rest. And then I told them to go out there and play as hard as they could. And I got Coy up there at the top now, and he's as hard of a player as I've ever coached. So, and we're flying around. We're doing a really good job. And like I said, we're confused. They're confused, but we're playing a lot harder than they are at this point. And we've got a couple good rolls like that. Some of those shots go in. I don't know how we react. But I don't know how that's not an and one. But as you can see, I'm not very happy about it.
Kudos to you, Coach, too. Yeah, kudos to you, Coach. Kudos to you on that. Coming out of that timeout, just kind of keeping track here in the back of my mind. You guys have scored 7 unanswered. A big and one by Jude, and a big 3 from Garrett out of that timeout. and then of course the player watching now, the Coast to Coast by Hutch. Yeah, kind of a little life lesson here, just from what I just now thought of. You talked about, you pulled the 4 out, kept 1 out, just because they weren't trying hard. I'm not so sure that won't be an issue this year, especially in light of not being able to be with their players on the court, or with their teammates on the court, classmates on the court. I don't think they're going to take this for granted anymore. And I think you're going to just see a lot more intensity once we do get back on the court.
Yeah, I agree. I've got guys every day asking me what's the deal? What have I heard? What's new? What's the governor saying? It's it's sad. I couldn't imagine me in their shoes. I don't know what I would have done. It's sad, and I wish I had answers for them. And I wish I could be out there coaching. Like I said, I thought we made a lot of strides moving forward last year, and it's just I wish I was out there with them again this year. Because
and you think back, the improvement that they made. We had Casey at our place, one of the final games of the year. Casey thought that they were going to come in and just roll us, and gave them everything they wanted for 30 plus minutes. So that improvement is there. Like you mentioned, an injury, you have an idea, a time frame about when you're going to come back. This stuff we're going through now, they don't have a clue, and we all feel terrible, but feel even more so for them, and not even just them, just the ones that even all the kids that, whether they're athletics or not, it's just what's going on. I'm spending the last year of high school at home.
For sure. I wish we could get back to a sense of normalcy, and like I mentioned before, it's going into my second year. These boys have been around me. They've heard my voice for a year now. And, as Dave Tingley could tell you, and Jeremy Clodfelter could tell you, it's a process of, whatever change you're making, it's a process, and you need to, have those few couple years to get it rolling and get it to fruition. And it's just, it's frustrating. It is, because, as both Coach Tingley and Coach Clodfelter could tell you, their first year, you take some lumps, you lose close. As Coach Claude says all the time, your first year you lose close, the next year you win close, and then next year after that you win big. That's ideal, so this, in his philosophy, this would be the year that we would win close, so we're trying to get the program going here, where the girls program's going, where the football program's at, and well, heck, where the girls program's at right now, where the football program's at, and the baseball team, and softball for that matter. You talk about a team that I feel awful for, is that softball team last spring that would have been unbelievable, top in the state. There's no doubt about it. I feel terrible for those girls, and like you mentioned earlier, the cheerleaders, they didn't get to have any competition or anything, so it's a frustrating time.
Yeah, it sure is. We as adults, we learn how to cope and move on. These guys don't. This is all they know. Big shot there by Jude on our end to get us within 2, I believe.
I think this is.
Yeah, I think we're about a minute, just a little over a minute left here. There's a good outlet there.
So where are we at here? My screen's a little fuzzy.
We're under a minute here, and I believe we're down 2.
Down 2.
Down 2 or tied.
We're still fighting. We're gonna have to foul. There's no shot clock, so we're gonna have to foul. And fortunately, I think, to be honest with you, I think our student section got in their heads a little bit. They're yelling stuff. We You got a little more. We got some fans clapping, as you can see, and yelling and screaming. So these guys missed quite a few free throws down the stretch. He makes this one, but and that gave us a chance. You win games at the free throw line at the end of games, and they as much as we took it from them, I think we did. We made some big shots. They helped us out by missing a lot of free throws. But that goes hand in hand with the atmosphere, and hopefully, I know fans like winners. With the football team, here's Jude making this tough shot. He hesitates, takes the dribble, and then shoots the game, makes it. Fans like winners. Hopefully we can get this place up and packed full like Ernie Evelyn used to be when Coach Vilk was playing, and like that Robinson game whenever he was, I think it was his senior year or maybe junior year, and the T-Town game.
That's going to be one of the games we're going to bring to you here in a couple of weeks. So, yeah, that's exciting to look forward to. And these kids at least have no idea what home basketball games used to be like. Right. And it's, whether we be, a year or two away or whatever from getting back to that atmosphere, who knows for sure. But, it's funny because you see, especially when you go to away games, rivalry games, whether it be Marshall, Crispin, whatever, and you see the fans and how rabid they are, the pace of play and the style of play for our boys, when we go up to Crispin and play, credit to them, but our boys just take it to another level. And, I think that, like you mentioned, success breeds fans and success breeds more success. So, for them to get a taste of it, especially here in this particular game, it really, you could see a change in them after this one.
Yeah, exactly. You feed off the fans, you feed off, that student section. I remember whenever I was playing, as the student section's rowdy and they're fired up, yeah, I definitely fed off of it, and I'm sure my teammates did as well. It's exciting and it's fun. It's a fun atmosphere. I think this is down the stretch. We just gave up an offensive rebound on a free throw down the stretch, which is usually kind of a dagger. But give our boys credit. We hung in there. We made big plays. I think here we're still get a big shot here by June. No, miss, and then Coy's right there. It's just those are just toughness plays. There's no skill involved there. It's just, hey, I'm going to be tougher than you. I'm going to get past you. I'm going to sprint down there. I'm going to get the rebound. And luckily, Jude missed it bad enough. It dropped straight down. But, hey, to his credit, he made some big shots. He's not afraid to take those shots. I think his freshman sophomore year, watching him, not coaching him, but I think he would have told you, he would have been scared to take those shots. So at least he's growing up and he's not scared to take those shots anymore. So I think this puts him up by 2, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, 1 or 2. I just kind of caught a glimpse of the scoreboard.
I think this is 2. If he misses this, then Coy, yep. So Mason makes a huge play here. He draws in, he sucks in the defense. Boom, Garrett's shot ready. He zips the pass. Mason zips the pass out to Garrett. There's a little confusion. We call timeout. All of our boys are back, which they're still hyped up. They're fired up. We're trying to do a little 3/4 court token pressure to make sure they can't throw it long or they can't roll the ball up the court. Unfortunately, we get a trap here, and Mason gets the steal and knocks in 1 or 2 free throws, and we seal the deal. But if whoever's watching, it's give the credit to the boys for taking coaching and taking a defense that we hadn't practiced at all, and just going in there and playing as hard as they possibly can, and getting out a win here against a good opponent. Tolono, I'm not sure how many games they won, but they were a solid team, a solid group, and and Coach Reed up there does a great job with them. It's just so this was a good win for us against a team that we were down by, I don't know, 17, 15 at one point. I'm not sure. We were down by quite a bit.
Yep, this was our only lead of the game, if I remember correctly. The final 12 seconds. So yeah, great win against a great opponent, and a lot of fans missed out on a great atmosphere because this was an exciting game.
Talked about winning will bring them out. So hopefully we can continue to build on games like this and get back at it, because that's what it's going to take, is getting back at it and getting with the boys every day and going to work with my staff, who does an unbelievable job. And it's just a frustrating time, but hopefully we just keep our heads and nobody does anything crazy, and we can get back at it and we can all stay safe. As much as we want to play ball and everything, we do. I'm with the families that this is affected, and I've talked with people that have had loved ones die, and it's not something to take lightly. As much as we want to play, we want to make sure everybody stays safe as well.
Yep, I agree with you 100%. Coach, listen, I appreciate you spending your Friday evening with us. From the sound of things, we're going to be spending a couple more Fridays together in the future, where you're going to possibly be calling in as a player this time. So it's going to be fun for us. So once again, I appreciate you coming on, and we will talk to you again soon.
All right. Sounds good, Jeff. Appreciate it. Appreciate you having me on here. All
right. Take care. Hey, thanks for everybody for tuning in. Big shout out and a big thank you to Nathan Bell for running everything behind the scenes for us. If you like this, please hit the like button, send us an email or comment on the video as you're watching it, with a game that you might want to see here in the future. We've got a few on the burner and some that we'd like to show you, but we're open to suggestions. So if you have any, please reach out to us. You can reach us at parasportsnetwork@gmail.com. So for Nathan Bell, running the ones and the twos for us, this is Jeff Chambers from the Parasports Network signing off. Thanks again and enjoy your evening.